For joining us for an information session on the SCRD's volumetric billing project. My name is Aidan Buckley. I work as the Manager of Communications and Engagement at the Sunshine Coast Regional District. I want to start by acknowledging that the Sunshine Coast Regional District is located on the land of the Sechelt and Squamish First Nations. Today, we're here to speak about the shift to volumetric billing. Over the past few weeks, residents in North and South Pender water service areas have received mock bills as we prepare for real billing cycles in 2026. In a few moments, we'll run through the presentation that you can see on your screen, and then we'll open it up for questions. Also joining me today, who'll be playing a part here in the presentation, is Kyle Doyle. Kyle is our Manager of Asset Management, the SCRD. And we also have SCRD Board Chair Alton Toth and SCRD Director Leonard Lee online available to answer questions should they come up. So on that point, if you're joining us, there are 3 ways to ask a question on this virtual session. On the bottom of the screen, you'll see a little hand. You can click on that and ask a question directly to the panel. You can also type your question to the Q&A, and chat function is also open on your screen. So with that, I'll start working through this presentation here. With Kyle, as I mentioned, I'm Aidan Buckley and Kyle Doyle as well, who'll be walking us through this presentation too. So to start off, just with a bit of an introduction to mock bills. So mock bills. As I said in my introduction, over the last 2 weeks or so, residents in North and South Pender water service areas have received these mock bills with a big line on there that says, "Please do not pay." And I think it's really important that we remind you of that. These are mock bills. And essentially, the purpose of these mock bills is to help you better understand this shift of volumetric billing that will be happening in 2026. And it gives you a preview of how future water charges will be calculated based on your own water usage. Also on those mock bills, on the reverse, we had some good information sharing on there, which we hope has helped residents better understand what their mock bills are telling them. So I'll pass it over to Kyle.
Thanks, Aidan. So these mock bills highlight the upcoming transition to volumetric billing for North and South Pender Harbour as part of the SCRD's effort to increase the efficient use of water. By being more efficient with water usage, we reduce the need to mandate conservation through water restrictions. The new rate structure is comprised of 2 components, a base charge and a volumetric or consumption charge. Each of these will be billed on a quarterly basis. By billing more frequently, users will be better able to correlate their consumption patterns with the cost of their water service. The base charge is applied to all accounts and is determined by the size of each user's connection to the SCRD water system. A quarterly allowance of 46 cubic meters, which is approximately 500 liters per day, is included with each base charge. The volumetric charge is only applied when quarterly consumption exceeds the 46 cubic meter allowance. Users will be charged for the volume of water they consume in each quarter in excess of the allowance. The flat rate, the volumetric rate, and the allowance volume will be reviewed and adjusted over time. If you've received one of these mock bills, you may have some questions. We've tried to include key information to help you understand your consumption over the first 2 quarters of this year and to illustrate how this would be charged under the new rate structure. The first thing to check is to make sure that the name and the address on the mock bill are correct. If you see any issues here, please reach out to make sure we can get it right. Next piece of information is the specific meter that is associated with the account. The meter ID is a unique identifier, and the meter size is used to determine your base charge. These mock bills are intended to be educational, and the actual water bills will look different. For example, the information related to your monthly water consumption contains 2 quarters of data. The real bills will only encompass 1 quarter of consumption. The monthly consumption data shown for Q1 and Q2 of this year is shown both graphically and in a table breaking down the base charge and the volumetric charge that would have been billed if volumetric billing was currently in place. Finally, I want to highlight that these bills, the mock bills and your future bills, will let you know if we have recorded continuous flow for more than 15 days in the most recent month that your meter has been read. This is typically associated with a leak. However, it's important to recognize that if a tap is left on or a leaky toilet is in the house for 15 days, that would result in the same flag. This will only be shown for accounts that have continuous flow. So you may not have the bold black line at the bottom of your mock bill. I hope that covers the key information on these mock bills that we're trying to convey. And I think this helps everyone make sense of them.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. So for more information, so we have set up a project information space for volumetric billing and mock billing. The URL is up on screen there. It's letstalk.scrd.ca/water billing. And on there, you can ask questions. You can kind of see timelines for the project and kind of a lot more information, associated staff reports if you want to do a bit of a deeper dive on there. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let me know the share is off there, Kyle. Can't see.
Looks good.
Yeah, so I know, Kyle, that you were up at the Pender Harbour Wooden Boat Show there on Saturday. And if either Director Lee or Director Toth would like to jump in on some of these questions, feel free to. I know kind of what came up a little bit up there was, residents who are currently, using under what would be, the 500 liters, let's say, threshold each day, right? So, so they're saying, they're using 200 to 300 liters per day. I feel it's unfair to have to pay a base rate that kind of roughly equates to that 500 liters a day.
That's right. We got that question. We got that question a fair bit, and I think this is an understandable frustration. People feel like they are paying for more than they use, and this feels unfair. I think I'd want to point out to people who have this sense that compared to the current billing method, residents will see a lower bill if they are consistently using less than the 46 meters per quarter. Second, it's important to recognize that volumetric billing is being rolled out gradually, and we can expect that there will be changes to the allowance volume, as well as the distribution of fixed charges and consumption charges. So over time, this will likely become, a bit of a lower number and represent the people who use a low volume of water. Finally, with the existing flat rate system, there is no limit on anyone's consumption. So I think that it's fair to recognize that this is an improvement over the existing method of billing.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. I know that we've had a couple of questions in through the Let's Talk platform around that topic as well. So we mentioned that we've had one mock bill that's gone out so far, and we'll have one more cycle of mock billing coming. And then, Kyle, real bills then, when will people, I know you mentioned that the bill that they'll see will look a wee bit differently to what we saw in the mock bill. When the new year can people expect then?
Yeah, so your next mock bill will be coming out after Q3, so sometime October sort of thing. But the first real bill will arrive in 2026 after the first quarter has been read. It's tough to say exactly when, but we're expecting it to be mid-April. Should arrive in the mailboxes, and you should see what it looks like in reality.
Great, thank you. And then, one more question, which I know has come up. So we talk about consumption allowance, and people are asking, does consumption allowance carry over? So, we look at 46 meter cubed, which is, 46,000 liters, around 500 liters per day, which essentially is the consumption allowance per quarter. Let's say if I were to use 40 meters cubed or, 40,000 liters of water, in a 3-month period, does that 6 meters cubed or 6,000 liters of water, is that going to carry that over into the next quarter?
Yeah, this is another common question we get, and unfortunately, with the system we've implemented here, consumption allowances are not transferable between billing periods. In order to ensure that this rate structure incentivizes efficient water use, it's not practical to offer that ability to carry over the consumption allowance. So no, the answer to that is no.
Okay, perfect. So as I mentioned earlier, if anyone has any questions after you've watched this live stream of the volumetric billing information session, feel free to jump on to letstalk.scrd.ca/water billing. Bit of a long URL. It's also accessible directly from our website. With the next round of mock bills, we'll be being sure to include similar information to what you saw in the round that you received there a couple of weeks ago. And with that, we'll finish for this evening.
Thanks, Abe.
Scott.
Cheers.